Here's something they don't teach you in most history classes. Before Hannibal crossed the Alps, before the Scipios burned Carthage, before Rome became an empire that ruled the Mediterranean, Rome lost. Not once, twice. To the same man. A Greek king from a forgotten mountain kingdom, a man who brought war elephants to Italy before anyone knew what an elephant was, a general so brilliant that his enemies copied his tactics for the next 500 years. You know his name, even if you don't know his story. You know his legacy, the Pyrrhic victory, a win that cost so much it might as well be a loss. Here's what the phrase hides, though. Pyrrhus didn't just win battles at terrible cost. He defeated Rome's legions on open ground, twice, using tactics that broke the Roman military machine. And then he walked away. Why? Because winning wasn't the problem. The problem was that Rome would not stop fighting. This is the story of the Greek who beat Rome and why beating Rome was never enough. To understand Pyrrhus, you have to understand the world he inherited. Epirus was not Sparta, not Athens, not Macedon. It was a rough, pastoral kingdom in what is now northwestern Greece and southern Albania. Sheep country, mountain passes, a place other Greeks called backward. Pyrrhus was born around 319 BC, just after the death of Alexander the Great. He grew up in the chaos of the Diadochi, the civil wars between Alexander's generals who carved up his empire like butchered meat. Almost wry. As a boy, Pyrrhus was exiled from his own throne. He fought as a mercenary, he married a princess, he got his kingdom back. He lost it again, he won it back again. By the time he was 40, Pyrrhus had spent more years in armor than out of it. He had studied under Ptolemy's generals in Egypt. He had fought alongside Demetrius the besieger. He knew how to command cavalry, how to deploy phalanxes, and, critically, how to use elephants. Alexander had brought elephants back from India, but Alexander died young. Pyrrhus learned. In 280 BC, the Greek city of Tarentum in southern Italy, what the Romans called Magna Graecia, sent Pyrrhus an urgent plea. They were losing a war against the rising power of Rome. They needed a champion. Lo, almost smiling, not out of charity, out of ambition, he wanted to build his own Mediterranean empire. Italy was the door. Rome was the lock. He crossed the Adriatic with 20,000 infantry, 3,000 cavalry, 2,000 archers, 500 slingers, and 19 war elephants. No Roman had ever seen an elephant in battle. That was about to change. Rome sent an army south under the consul Publius Valerius Levinus, about 30,000 men, fresh legions, confident. They met Pyrrhus near the river Cyrus at a place called Heraclea. The Romans deployed in their standard formation, hastati in front, princeps behind, triarii in reserve. Heavy javelins, short swords, disciplined. Pyrrhus deployed his Macedonian-style phalanx, long pikes, sarissas, 18 to 20 feet long, dense ranks, unbreakable from the front. For hours, the battle was a stalemate. The Romans pushed, the phalanx held. The Romans retreated, the phalanx advanced. 7 times the lines broke and reformed. And then, Pyrrhus did something no Roman general had ever seen. He held back his cavalry, he held back his elite guards, and he waited until the Roman infantry was fully committed, fully exhausted, fully tangled in the pikes. Then he unleashed his elephants. The Romans had no answer. Their horses, trained for war against other horses, against infantry, against chariots, screamed and bolted at the sight and smell of the elephants. Their formations shattered. Their cavalry fled. Their infantry was trampled. Plutarch, writing 400 years later, described the scene. The Romans were put to flight, and Pyrrhus captured their camp. Roman casualties, 7,000 dead, 2,000 captured. Pyrrhus's casualties,
3,500 of his best men, his veterans, his fellow Epirotes, the core of his army. That night, standing among the wounded, Pyrrhus supposedly said, "One more such victory, and I am ruined." The first Pyrrhic victory. But here's what the textbooks leave out. After Heraclea, Pyrrhus marched south. Rome's allies defected to him. He offered peace terms, moderate ones. Rome refused. So Pyrrhus prepared to fight again. 1 year later, same war, same generals, same elephants. But the Romans had learned. At Asculum, the Romans deployed on rough, hilly ground, terrain that nullified Pyrrhus's cavalry and made his elephants harder to maneuver. They also brought anti-elephant wagons, carts mounted with long iron spikes, fire pots, and even flaming torches to spook the animals. For 2 days, the battle raged. Day 1, indecisive. Rain, mud, neither side broke. Day 2, Pyrrhus adjusted. He sent his elephants through the Roman line at the point where the wagons had been destroyed by his skirmishers. The elephants punched through. The Roman left flank collapsed. Once again, Pyrrhus won. Roman casualties 6,000 dead. Pyrrhus's casualties 3,500, including many of his officers, his Macedonian phalanx veterans, and his remaining elephants. Only 2 survived. Another victory, another devastating loss. And this time, when Pyrrhus looked at the battlefield, he said something even more revealing. According to Dionysius of Halicarnassus, Pyrrhus reportedly told a companion who tried to congratulate him, "If we win one more battle against the Romans, we will be completely destroyed." Not because of the numbers, because of what the numbers meant. Rome had lost 13,000 men across 2 battles. What did Rome do? They raised 2 new armies. Pyrrhus had lost 7,500 irreplaceable veterans. What did Epirus do? Nothing. There was no one left to recruit. Rome treated war like a factory. Pyrrhus treated war like a forge. The factory could absorb losses. The forge could not. After Asculum, Pyrrhus did something strange. He didn't march on Rome. He had the road. The Roman legions were broken, scattered, rebuilding. Rome itself was only 200 miles away. A forced march, 7 days at most. Instead, Pyrrhus turned south. He accepted an invitation to fight in Sicily against the Carthaginians, leaving Italy behind. Why? Historians have debated this for 2,000 years. Here's the most convincing answer. Pyrrhus didn't march on Rome because he knew he couldn't take it. Not militarily, he could have beaten whatever scratch garrison Rome threw at him. But holding Rome, with no local allies, no supply lines, no reinforcements from Greece, and Rome refused to negotiate surrender. The Roman Senate, after Heraclea, famously listened to Pyrrhus's peace envoy, then rejected every term and sent the envoy back with a message. Rome does not treat with an enemy who has Roman blood on his sword. That was the difference. Pyrrhus fought for glory, for a throne, for a negotiated peace. Rome fought for elimination. They would not stop, could not stop, did not know how to stop. When Pyrrhus returned to Italy from Sicily, his Sicilian campaign failing, his army depleted, he fought one more battle against the Romans at Beneventum in 275 BC. He lost, not decisively, but enough. He went home to Epirus, broke, tired, and by the standards of ancient warfare, defeated. 4 years later, he died in a street fight in Argos, killed by a roof tile thrown by an old woman. An undignified end for a man who had beaten Rome twice. So why does Pyrrhus matter? Not because he won 2 battles. Generals win battles all the time. Pyrrhus matters because he revealed Rome's secret weapon, the thing that would let Rome conquer the Mediterranean for the next 500 years. Rome's secret was not better soldiers, not better tactics, not better weapons. Rome's secret was pain tolerance. You could beat Rome, you could slaughter their legions, you could burn their fields, you could raise 2 new armies and beat them again, and Rome would simply raise 4 more. No other civilization fought that way. Carthage surrendered after one lost fleet. Macedonia collapsed after one lost phalanx. The Greek city-states negotiated after one lost battle. Rome said, "No, we fight until you are dead, and then we fight your children." Pyrrhus learned this the hard way, and he left us a word, Pyrrhic victory, that still means a win that costs too much. But the dark irony is this. For Rome, there was no such thing as a Pyrrhic victory, because Rome never paid the cost alone. They always had more men, more allies, more time. They could lose an army in the morning and raise two by nightfall. The Greeks couldn't, the Carthaginians couldn't, the Gauls couldn't. And that, more than any general, any tactic, any emperor, is why Rome won. Pyrrhus beat Rome twice, but Rome beat history. Pyrrhus died in 272 BC, killed by a roof tile in Argos. Rome destroyed Epirus as an independent kingdom in 167 BC. The last of Pyrrhus's descendants were paraded in Roman triumphs. Some victories travel forward in time. Some defeats do too. Rome wasn't built in a day, but it almost fell in two.